It's a big week in my YouTube career. It's the first week I tried to do a go thrifting with me. Come thrifting with me. But not really, because I didn't vlog direct to camera. People who go direct to camera in the middle of like crowded thrift stores, braver than the Marines. By the way, it gets dark at 4 p.m. now, and you know what that means? It's ring light season, baby! Also a scented candle, because I'm classy. It's from IKEA and it's $4. I'm not that classy. So I went thrifting yesterday for the first time in literal months. COVID stuff was getting real bad here in Toronto, but moreover, it was Halloween. There's nothing that strikes fear into the heart of an avid thrifter more than Halloween at the thrift store. It's like if you're an avid gym rat and then everyone shows up at the gym on New Year's Day trying to make good on their New Year's resolution, and you're like... So even though the costume parties are all but canceled this year, or they should have been, between parents trying to get stuff for their kids and various randos still going out to party on Halloween, or maybe you're just really into dressing up for the Zoom chat, man, I don't know. I wanted to stay as far away from the thrift store as I could. I actually had a reason to venture out because I had bought something on the Insta stories of a vintage shop, and I had to go pick it up because I was too cheap to pay for shipping. While I was there, I decided to head up the road to the Valley Village, sort of cross my fingers that it wasn't going to be too, like, totally bonkers, and so I decided I would take some footage, bring you guys along for the ride. So the first place I went was Siberia Vintage, which is on Bloor Street here in Toronto. It's a really cute vintage shop. The prices aren't too bad. The variety's pretty good. They have a good mix of stuff from different eras. I would say that they're really big in the sort of the 70s through 90s kind of vibes. So while I was there to pick up my order, I figured I would, take a minute, try on a couple things. They had the change rooms open, which a lot of places aren't doing right now for obvious reasons. They had this really, really sick rain jacket that looked like it was from the 60s, and it had this sort of contrast stitching on it. It was almost like a trench style with patch pockets. It didn't have closures at the bottom, and it was cut in a way that was sort of just, you could tell it was supposed to be roomy in the hips, but it wasn't. It just kind of pushed open in a way that wasn't super flattering, so I ended up leaving it, but it was cool as hell. I also tried on a suede green, sort of a button front, snap button front skirt that I actually really liked in theory. The color was great, but it just fit me, but the shape of it I wasn't super crazy about. It was kind of doing this weird kind of a bell shape thing, and I just wasn't super into it, so I gave that a pass. But I also tried on the dress that I ended up buying, and I'm really glad I bought it. Hang on. So I saw this in their stories, and I immediately was like, I think I need to have this. I'm not a maxi dress bitch, but I feel like I could become a maxi dress bitch if given the opportunity. And I feel like it's really important to allow for that plurality of maxi dress bitch experience. So it's this long-sleeved V-front polyester maxi dress with this great rose print all over it. It's so like dramatique. It's very like, this is about as Morticia Addams as I get. This is like as vampy as I go. I feel like it's not even really that vampy. It's just got a V-neck and some, some boob seams, but I personally think it looks fantastic on. I feel like this with like a leather jacket and a boot, this is just great. This is like the sort of like sweeping dramatically across the fall leaves kind of vibes. And I also feel like I should probably enjoy that maxi dress bitch lifestyle before the slush tundra happens in about another month or so. I feel like I've got about 3 weeks before we get our first real blizzard, and then it's just gonna be just waterproof boots and sadness for the next little while. I have one quibble. The way they kind of did the inside of the collar, the facing, which by the way is a new term I recently learned, thank you to subscriber Kristen for that, doesn't really lay 100% flat. I think that this was handmade because it has exposed seams on the inside, it has no tag. I'm pretty sure someone just made this, and the way that they kind of handle the tailoring around the neck, it means this kind of flops out a lot when I try to wear it, and it doesn't lay super flat. So I think I might take this to a tailor and just kind of see if they can just zhuzh that a little bit, and then I will be off to the races, just living my best Florence and the Machine fantasies. I should add that this dress was $40 from Siberia Vintage. So from there I moved on to the Vivi Boutique, the mothership. I don't know why I let myself believe that the day after Halloween would be chill. It was not chill. It was just any old regular Sunday at the Valley Village in a pandemic when no one has anything else to do except go thrifting. surprisingly enough, this was not a great thrifting day for clothing. Usually that's my number one thing when I go thrifting. This time around, not so much, but there were some scores in some other sections of the store that I will be sharing with you momentarily. Let's start with the jewelry. My friend Paula asked me not that long ago, she was on my Instagram and she's like, how do you get all the good thrifted earrings? And I'm like, well, the secret, my friend, is that you have to sift through a lot of really shitty earrings. I found this dope pair of earrings. So they're actual vintage 80s, and you can tell because there's a clip. Do they still manufacture clip-on earrings? I feel like the people who can't wear pierced earrings would still love a good clip, but I literally don't think they make them. Anyway, so they're these sort of dangly ball earring. These sort of dangly two-toned, multicolored ball earrings. They kind of start gold, silver, all the way down the sort of like gradated kind of shape. It's ASMR time. I kind of waffled on whether or not to get these because I was like, are these too much? And then I was like, no, there's no such thing. They'd be really good for the holiday if we had one, which I don't know if we will at this point. But I'll be keeping them on ice until the inevitable dangly earring occasion manifests itself. These were $4.99. They were the only pair of earrings I got. I did have to stand behind this woman who painstakingly went through every single thing on the jewelry rack while I just stood there in my mask just trying to like burn a hole into the back of her head with my eyes. I've never been good with crowds, to be honest with you. I feel like being impeded from going where I want to go by another person has always made me just a bit irrationally stabby, but now that the pandemic has given me like an objective reason to want my personal space to be clear, it's made me like extra cranky. It really is just like the 2 minutes hate every 2 minutes. Being separated from the rest of humanity has only made me hate the rest of humanity more, apparently. So elsewhere in the jewelry aisle, this was actually in the case. It's this really cool brass and mother of pearl collar with like these little inlays in it. I got it without trying it on because, you know, thrift store. The problem is that like my neck isn't that big, but like it doesn't quite lie the way that I want it to. It's a little bit snug. It doesn't really go all the way around, and I feel like if I tried to expand it, it would just mess with the inlay on it because I don't want to bend this too out of shape and risk having those fall out. So this may end up being a Poshmark, but we'll see. You may be seeing this up there soon. It's really cool. I wish I could keep it. It just doesn't, you know, it doesn't fit on my neck right. And I can't take it back because I took the tags off, So I also found something in the shoe section, and I'm not like 1,000% on these, but I'm going to show them to you guys anyway. So it's recently come to my attention that the tall boot is a thing again. And I don't know how to feel about that. I feel like I was such a tall boot person for like so many years that now when I look at them, I'm just like, or they have to be so different from the ones that I was wearing in like my 2010 lookbook.nu days or like back in university that I'm just not sold on 90% of the ones floating around. But I do kind of like that whole like midi skirt or maxi skirt, since apparently now, again, maxi skirt bitch. I'm sort of into that kind of tall boot with longer skirts thing, so I think this is something I'm gonna have to explore. I found these suede knee-high boots. They're actually not really knee-high, they're more like a calf height boot. They're a tall boot. So they're from Dockers, which like total mom brand here. They're actually not bad, right? They're real suede. They have a sort of a little bit of like almost like a gum heel, which again I'm not totally sold on. I don't know if these are cute or normie. I'm gonna be totally honest with you guys. I don't know if these are cute or if they're normie or if they're a little bit of both. And I think that the feeling that they might be too normie, maybe I should just lean into that. These were $18.99, which I think is a pretty good price for a name brand suede boot in good condition. I definitely think these are like a worthwhile purchase. I'm just not 1,000% sure if they're my boot, but I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a moment to try them on with a whole bunch of stuff, and then I will sort of make my decision accordingly. But these may or may not be going back, but they're nice. I don't know, like I just don't know. Also a couple selections from the housewares department. I try not to go crazy on the housewares. I feel like I am always so tempted to just buy a million cute things for my house and then they just sit around collecting dust, and also I don't have room for more things that aren't practical. But I did find this little syrup dispenser. It's got a little one of these. The thing is, I actually was in the market for one of these. My fiance is French Canadian. He doesn't have an accent. I don't know why I said it like that. We buy that maple syrup that comes in the can. Then you gotta figure out how to store it once you open the can. So we usually do it in mason jars, when the mason jars keep like falling over in our fridge and like leaking syrup onto things, which sounds fun but isn't. So I felt like something dedicated that would also help sort of stopping the pouring with this little spouty boy. This could be like a creamer thing, but I choose to believe it's a syrup thing, and so it shall be. And this was $1.99 at the BB. Okay, so this is the last thing I got at Value Village. I saved the best for last. Bit of a story here. Unsurprisingly, as anyone who has spent any time watching these videos knows, I've been kind of low-key looking for a fondue set for a while. My whole family got into fondue in recent years for reasons that are completely inexplicable to me and everyone else. You know, my mom is like queen of the thrift, and sometimes she would go to Goodwill and like find cool fondue sets and send me photos, and I'd be like, you know, I think that I want to hold out for the perfect fondue set. I'm thinking super Scandinavian, I'm thinking avocado green, I'm thinking sunset orange, really lean into that whole 70s Danish vibe, you know? This week, I'm at the Value Village, waiting in line. I see this guy walking across the store, and he is carrying this fondue set. And I can feel my face just do like... So I leave the line, and I just start, you know, going in the guy's direction. Following, some might say. Because my first thought is, you know, that guy looks like he's hustling pretty fast. Like, he looks like he's, you know, man on a mission here. Maybe he, like, works here and he's just trying to get that from the back over to the store shelf. It becomes very clear to me immediately that this man does not actually work here, and I am in fact following a fellow customer around the store, hoping that he will put back this fondue set. But eventually, he puts back the fondue set, and I just kind of race walk over there and just grab it and hold it like this. He was waiting in line behind me in the store later. He didn't say anything about it. I'm kind of glad that he didn't. Anyway, long story short, I now have this glorious fondue pot and sort of a burner holder and a matching plate to go under it. It doesn't have a brand on it anywhere from what I can see, but it's this awesome, like, slime green color almost, like this mustard, halfway between like a mustard and a pistachio. I think it's dope, and it's got the dark wood on it. It's in quite good condition, like it's really nice and clean on the inside. It doesn't come with any forks, but, you know, like, how many fondue forks do you think people have gotten rid of over the years? Like, I don't think they have to wait very long for that one to show up. So in the end, I'm still pretty glad I went, because, like, it's so good. It's so good, you guys. On my way back to the subway, I decided to check out this other place. I believe it's called Final Touch Vintage. Honestly, I was never huge on this store before because it always seemed kind of like not super curated. It just seemed kind of like a big old mishmash of stuff. My tendency is to go either the more curated route or the full-on thrift store route. Part of the problem is you don't really get the crazy prices of a thrift store, but you still have to do all the work of digging through all the stuff. I took a moment to look through all of their t-shirts and had like a delightful time. They also had like a mishmash of other things, some nice leather jackets, like more sportier stuff, Levi's denim. I did find one thing there on the splendiferous rack of t-shirts. I got this vintage t-shirt. It has this sick iron on it. It says City of Angels on it. I've been to LA twice, so I think I feel authorized to own this shirt. This was more expensive than I thought it was, but then they had a sale. It was $25, and then with the 30% off sale and the tax, it came to $19, which, you know, isn't so bad. I'm not like a big vintage t-shirt person. I kind of had a phase in high school, college, where I was all about the ironic t-shirt. Now that I'm older, I've kind of broken myself of that. I think most days I would rather just wear like a plain white tee, but I do have a few graphic shirts that I rotate pretty frequently. I think that this is a solid contender. It's a size XL, but it's a vintage XL, so I feel like it probably fits more like a men's large, so a little bit oversized on me, but I feel like I could probably do some like tie front jiggery pokery, some cool, you know, tucking and whatever. The graphic is just so cool. Like, I literally could not resist. This is just sick as hell. So those are my finds. I hope you guys dug this. It's a big moment for me. I finally get to have one of those thumbnails with me standing outside the thrift store like, I'm a real YouTuber now, guys. It's a fun little trip. It was nice to get to go thrifting and vintage shopping again after not going out and doing really much of anything for the past month or so. I've been doing more of my buying on like Poshmark and stuff lately. Probably gonna do a big old Poshmark haul sometime soon because like, oh god, I fell hard down that rabbit hole. But this was really fun. I hope you guys liked it. Let me know what your favorite piece was down in the comments. Take care. I'll see you when I see you. Bye.